Hello, and welcome to Tomorrow Today, a live video variety show employing the arts and improvisation to envision a just future. I am your host, Juliette Olivier. Our show this evening features one-man house band Wes Buckley and is produced by Wizard of Fun, PJ Goodwin, and community artist Neil Horsky. For our first episode, we have with us some very special guests, Liza Zayas, Joanne Spees, and Tony Buckley. We'll start by introducing each of our guests, and then they're going to share with us a piece of their own work. Liza Zayas, also known as Luna Del Flor, works with the power of poetry as a mirror and healer. She intersects her lifelong passion for justice, equality, and the healing of humanity with her artistic goal of dialogue through individual and shared experiences in rhyme. Raised in Lawrence, Massachusetts, Liza's Puerto Rican roots have pulsated her rhythmic poetry into performance art. As Luna Del Flor, she performs poetry at V-Day 1 Billion Rising, International Women's Day, and Women's History Month events. When not on stage, she curates events with other talents for these movements and more as a stage manager, talent coordinator, hostess, or DJ. She's currently a contributor to Oddball magazine with her weekly poetry column, Underground Garden. In 2019, she was chosen by the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum to join its Neighborhood Salon Luminary cohort for 2019 and 2020. She is a featured artist as writer and performer on the independent house music label Playroom Boston. Its debut release, All Night, was released on June 26th. This evening, Liza will be sharing her piece, Freed Roots.
This is inspired and dedicated. Freed Roots. Aw, shit. I'm the shit. No more mice, rats, bed bugs, or roaches. I can afford the heat. No more projects or Section 8 for me. I only hear sirens on TV. I'm poverty free. Fuck the ghetto. Fuck all those losers. All they got is drugs, sex, and hiding out from cruisers. Bunch of alcoholics, welfare frauds. I got my ass out. Hold up. I'm the real fraud. I love my ghetto. Pray for the ghettos. I'm roaches free, but those assholes are still biting the faces of babies. I made it out of the ghetto, but the ghetto will always be me. Some even call it chronic PTSD. I love the ghetto. I don't forget the ghetto. While you're becoming powerful in a world that make up ghetto kids' dreams, clink your glasses, sip your bubbles, pray for the young ones avoiding trouble. Buy your jewels, you'll find threads. Pray for these ghetto generations struggling to bury their dead. Frame your awards, smile and pose. Pray for the ones trying to keep a clean nose. Every time you make more in an hour than the ghetto makes in a day, what do you say? How do you pray? Survivor's guilt is real. When you walk away from the devil's deal and not sell your soul to cure your woes. I'm from the ghetto. We face evil, toe to toe. Angels to demonios. Love the ghetto. Don't forget the ghetto. Celebrate your escape. Hell yes, don that cape. Superhuman strength, you beat it in the face. The question on the table is, how do your footprints trace? Off to a side that erases your mind, forgets your kind. Off to a side, remembering those types. Ghetto. Love the ghetto. Don't forget the ghetto. Survivor's guilt is built by systems. It's not your fault. You know it's shit. The comfort of success versus the ghetto's daily stress to keep one slice of bread. Love the ghetto. Don't forget the ghetto. Even if you've never met the ghetto, even if you fear the ghetto is a maze that has its lovely ways. Struggle is not to be praised, but differently we're raised. Differently we pray. Nothing compares to our day to day. Acknowledge the ghetto. It's not what they say. All you ghetto people, we're not what they say. Aw shit, we're the shit. Makers of success built by self-respect. Love the ghetto. Don't forget your ghetto. Your ghetto.
Thank you so much, Liza. All right, our next artist this evening is Joanne Spees, a singer, songwriter, visual artist who collaborates with her audience in rhythm and sound explorations. Recent works include guided tour performances, karaoke confession, trust, and courage at the Norman Rockwell Museum, and Survivor Tree, an original song sung at the 9/11 Memorial to honor Jane Goodall as she received a Peace Award on International Day of Peace. Spees has headed the Art Cart program at Community Access to the Arts since 2001, co-creating songs with elders and people with Alzheimer's. Other projects include songs written for Watershed Waltz, an interactive environmental program for Marmalade Productions that toured in schools, and Sounding Mohican Pathways, historical and musical walks creating a bridge between Stockbridge residents and the Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohicans. Joanne will now share with us a song called Sit Down.
Sometimes I'm tired, sit down. Sometimes I'm tired, sit down. Sometimes I'm tired, sit down. Sit down and rest a little while. Sometimes I'm a fish rolling in the water. Sometimes I'm a fish rolling in the water. Sometimes I'm a fish that's rolling in the water. Sit down and rest a little while. Sometimes I'm an eagle playing in the wind. Sometimes I'm an eagle playing in the wind. Sometimes I'm an eagle playing in the wind. Sit down, rest a little while. Sit down and rest a little while. Sit down.
Thank you, Joanne. That was beautiful.
Thanks.
And our final contributor this evening is Tony Buckley. Born and raised by two Syrian parents in Germany, Tony moved to the United States in 2015 for love. She found her place in a tight community in the most western Mass County in the Berkshires. As a community leader and activist, she works with the local chapter of the NAACP, the Four Freedoms Coalition, WAM Theater, Mass MoCA, the Norman Rockwell Museum, and other organizations to foster justice through activism and the arts. The Berkshire Immigrant Stories program was the initial project that started Tony's trajectory of amplifying the voices of other immigrants in her community. This evening, Tony's going to share a story with us entitled Silver Bracelet and Shoes.
This beautiful bracelet was a gift from my aunt, Anne Claire, from Damascus, Syria. She took me to the Souk al-Hamadiyya in the old town of Damascus, where my family originally comes from, and told me to choose two. One for me and one for my sister, because she wanted us to have something that reminds us of her and our heritage. My siblings and I were born in Germany. Our father immigrated to Germany in the 60s and brought our mother from Syria after they got married. I never spent much time in Syria, and I could never really identify with the culture until January 2011, my last trip to my ancestors' country. I finally rediscovered my roots and realized that I loved them. It almost feels like it was too late. That was 3 months before the Civil War started. Mine and my family's history continued in Germany. 6 siblings born and raised in the middle of Europe with a love to an equal and free way of living. I was later adopted by my German godmother Heidi, who taught us our whole life long the German culture and the delicious cooking. But none of our parents let us forget the beautiful culture, the amazing food, and the art passion that we were given from our ancestors. 5 years ago now, I left home alone to spend the summer in the Berkshires. That's where my story took a new turn. I met the love of my life and decided to move. We got married, and on my wedding day, I was wearing my Emma Claire's bracelet and Heidi's shoes.
Thank you so much, Tony. That's a very personal story. Appreciate you. All right, so for our improvisation exercise this evening, we will be interpreting an artwork by our producer, Neil Horsky. Neil, could you introduce us to your artwork and to the exercise of the evening?
Hi, Juliet.
Hi, Neil.
Oh, wow, I'm just so moved by everyone's presentations. I just, I've been kind of focusing on the behind the scenes stuff, and not as just watching this, I wasn't really prepared for, I just having great artists around. It's so wonderful. We're so lucky.
We
Thanks
really
for
are.
being here, everyone. So yes, this exercise that we're going to be trying tonight, we're going to be interpreting some images that I created, this artwork, General Reassembly. I'll show it to everyone here. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the full artwork here, which pits, it's like two social trajectories pitted side by side, set in contrast. One that's like a vision of a just future, and the other not so just, repressive potential future. And we're focusing today on this left column, okay, on the just future. And I just feel like we're really lucky to have everyone here to talk about these pairings, I could call them. They're symbol and caption pairings. So I'm just gonna dive right in. I'll start us off, and then I'll let y'all take over. So General Reassembly, like that's the name of the project, and it's the first slide in the story. And the idea behind this one is that, well, so General Assembly is an idea that we all need to, when we want to solve our shared problems, we all got to come together and really find consensus. That's the idea of a General Assembly. It's like everyone come together to solve our shared problems. And so in this case, our shared problem is that our communities and our very selves are kind of in a state of, are disassembled. They're fragmented, our communities and our spirit. And so the task that we need to assemble is actually is a reassembly. So it's a little play on words there, General Reassembly. All right, I'm going to pass the mic.
So I think it's my turn, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of like making me stop breathe, because I saw this accord. I don't even know if I pronounce it right, and I don't know if I know 100% what it means. But growing up in Germany, the first thing that reminds me here, or let me back up, what I think is like we need to look at history. We need to remember the past, and we cannot make the same mistakes again. And when I look at this symbol, growing up in Germany, I see a swastika. And even though it's not, right, it is like a different way that it's connected or put together. It does remind me of, we need to, one of the one of the things we need to do right now, even more than ever, is to educate ourselves and learn about our history, learn about our country's history, and not make mistakes again.
Way out. I see the turnabout, the circular way in every town where we all meet. And there's just looks like one way out, but there's 3 pathways. So there's many ways of seeing on this way out with a clear space in the middle.
Back to the start. So this looks like a teardrop to me. And tears are cleansing. So I would interpret this as a moment of healing and going back to our past and coming together to find our way out to where we are right now and having our new beginning, but a new beginning that has faced the hard stuff, that has decided this isn't working. Let's do this again. Let's start again.
Word of mouth. This image is so interesting in this moment because I think, you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Word of mouth is really happening on social media right now. And there are a lot of conversations about some problems that we're experiencing in our society and how we can solve them. There's a lot of talking and a lot of listening happening. Hopefully there's a lot of listening to voices who may not have been heard or may have been silenced. So that's interesting. I also think it's interesting that there's like this head inside of this other head. And I've been recently thinking about like questioning the voices in my head, and questioning the thoughts that may not be genuine, that may need to be addressed because they are coming from perhaps word of mouth, or coming from another source.
Chain game. So what I'm seeing is, you know, chains that keep us from moving, keep us from acting, right? But when I look at these chains, there are those white little lines in there. These chains are not closed. I think we have the ability to break these open. It's giving us the, you know, the hope to break the chains open and to act and to raise up and speak up and act and do something about it and break out of those chains.
Budding heads. It's flowering open. It's like those paper games where you can change all the different minds here. 4 minds at work are creating something new. Even though they're touching, it says budding, but it looks like harmony.
Dismantling the spectacle. So I see spectacles, I see glasses, and this tells me, you know, the rose tinted glasses have to be taken off. We have to check our vision. We have to see things more clearly. We need new glasses. We need new visions. We cannot stop. I should say we can't start not looking at the truth. The truth is in front of us. So it's time for us to just agree that what we're seeing isn't in our head. We no more being gaslit. No more lying to ourselves, no more lying to each other.
There's lots of motion in there, right? It looks like it's moving forward.
It does. It does.
Bow and arrows. Bow, like a lover, eros, like the erotic, the connection, this like erotic connection. I mean, you know, where is the love? I think really love is the most powerful force on earth. And, you know, where is the erotic? Is there room for the erotic in our movement towards liberation? I hope so.
The big book of free time. That pandemic, it wasn't for me. It felt like there's not much more free time. But maybe the big book of free time is teaching us the worth, what value of time, and that we shouldn't waste it. Sometimes I feel like we shouldn't waste it with working too much too, right? So maybe this is also like a person that I'm looking at right now. And so maybe the big book of free time means valuing our time with the people around us more, making sure that we take advantage of every minute we have together. And
light at the end of the tunnel. This could be the tunnel that we're in right now. It also looks like somebody singing with a big wide open mouth, and the truth is coming forth, just disbanding the tunnel.
Dancing round the maypole. Absolutely a community. There has to be joy. There has to be celebration, and it has to be around a common goal. So we may all have different moves, different ways to get there, but when we get there, we celebrate it. We're all together, enjoying it.
Stepping out of the box. Yeah, what are our boxes? What even is this box that we've been put in? And how do we step out of it? And it's interesting, similar to what I think Tony said about the chain. It sort of looks like it's enclosed, but there is actually a way out if you follow this little pathway. It's kind of like an old-fashioned labyrinth. So if we choose to look, we can find a way out of the box.
on the thresholds. I'm really seeing a table and two chairs. I don't know. I don't know how it connects with the thresholds. I do think, you know, we need to get around our table, and we need to talk, and we need to talk about. We need to talk across differences, but I think there's a threshold, right? Sometimes that gap gets, and especially nowadays, gets so wide that we don't know how to communicate across that gap, right? How do we do that? We have to figure that out, I guess. Sometimes I feel nowadays like somebody who's on the other side, somebody who has this different opinion is so far from everything I believe in that I don't know how to get there. And the threshold is just, I don't know if it gets lower and lower or if it turns higher and higher. I don't know what perspective you're on to look at that, but
bridging the precipice. So the more images I see, the light is taking on the idea of pushing forth with truth, and the black is the stick, the holding and strong and obstruction. But in this case, it could be the opposite. It could be that we can go right through this. It looks like you can. precipice is through.
Level up. New seeds, new growth, new medicines.
The giver. It really reminds me of water. You know, water really gives us the gift of life. It's what we're made up of. It's where we came from and what we evolved out of. Water, to me, is the giver.
Mother load. So within this pandemic, for me, female energy has been so powerful, and sisterhood has been so important. And I just think that women, mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, women in general have the power to hold each other up and to encourage and empower and amplify each other. And I think the harder the times, the more important that is. And this time of the pandemic has really shown me the power of women.
Polar pillars. So this peace bird, or it's a penguin, and it makes me worry about the melting ice and the pillar that's taller. I want it, the little penguin, to rise up as high as the other pillar, and I want them to turn and embrace each other and hold each other up. And the penguin almost looks like he has a stethoscope. He's hearing the heartbeat of the earth, wondering, what's next?
The watcher, which is nature to me. We're guests here. And so I see a snowflake, which means wind, which means water, which means weather, which means our environment, our atmosphere, which is responding to our actions. So the watcher is watching us, hopefully waiting for us to make better decisions so that it can be healthier. Once we're healthy, it'll be healthier.
Bird of prayer. There's something so hopeful and uplifting about a bird just spreading her wings. And, you know, hope is a prayer to me, and to dare to hope when things seem so dark is really a prayer to me. And I love the idea of this bird, just her expansive wings, just helping us to visualize soaring to new heights.
Lion sleeps. So we're definitely continuing with the theme of nature here, and of us not being the only animals around. I think the lion sleeps always, well, it's gonna wake up, right? We need to wake it up. I think we are right now. I think we are waking it up. And the lion is not gonna, it's not happy. There is something powerful coming and something strong, and it doesn't need to be peaceful completely, right? It doesn't need to be calm. It's been sleeping for so long. It's gonna be loud, and it's gonna be powerful.
Laying in wait. Who is that laying in wait? It looks like a plug. If you turned it over, the electricity is just ready to pop.
The hammer and the cycle. It's going to take a force to set us off in a new direction. And it's going to either be a lion's roar or a big shot of electricity or a hammer of justice or karma. And then we will be on our way. The prayer, the bird prayer, is that we're going to be on a different way, a better way, a more knowledgeable way, clearer.
Generator. I love this fast spinning. Like, we need momentum. We need to be moving in a spiraling, not the same old, that's the thing I love about spiraling. It's not the same old cycle where you're just trapped in this one ring. We spiral to new places, to new heights. The generator, how do we keep the momentum spiraling?
Third eye lashes. Well, the third eye, our spirituality, our beliefs, our faith needs to be, unleashed. I know it says eyelashes, maybe it's third eye leashed, unleashed. It looks a little bit, like this image in the middle has a bull's eye, like it's a target, but it's also centered. So I think we've been talking about energy and power and hope, and we need to center our faith and our spirituality and unleash that power.
Turnkey time. Again, I want to turn that other one around. What is the puzzle? Do we know? It's almost Martians landing. Other people are going to help us. That's the feeling I have.
Emerge. That's a personal prayer. So emerge is everyone becomes their lotus. Everyone comes through their murk, through their mud, through their darkness, and becomes their best self. Everyone's given that opportunity. Everybody has that freedom. Society emerges, humanity emerges, individuals emerge. Everything new, everything.
Luminous ascension. The trajectory of the arrow goes down first, down and around. Like, we've got to come gather up our people, and then we can ascend into the light and really explode into the light. The arrow is the biggest part. The light is the big part.
Lead, follow, or get on the way. I think that says all. Do one of those things. Like, if you do none of them, there's no excuse. Choose one of those and you're good. and I guess with the image, it really shows that no matter which one you chose, we are all connected. We're all connected to each other, and we will support each other. If you decide to lead, we will hold you up. If you're following, we will make sure you find the right way. And just make sure you're on the way with us.
Our hearts pulse in parallel. It follows what was just said. It's like the EKG when we're on this path together. And it's lovely that there's room for flowing and being each in our own way.
Dawn, that's our new day. That's our new day. And that's the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what everybody hopes to see before they fall asleep. And once that dawn arrives, you hope that when you open your eyes, it's to happiness and health and peace and stability. And that's what everyone deserves.
Yes.
Well, we've reached the end of our exercise. Wow. I'm so grateful to each of you for your beautiful insights and words. I want our audience to know that this has been an improvisational game. And, you know, with the exception of me, I've seen a few of these images, but our guests have not really experienced these images before. So what we just created together was very new and very of this moment. So I have a lot of gratitude for each of you. And thank you to our audience members, both live, and hopefully people will be able to share and view this at a later time as well. We ask that if you enjoyed this program, that you consider making a donation to the following organizations. These are chosen by our guest, Liza Zayas, and we'll be seeing a slide here in a moment, so you can have a visual reference. The organizations I'm going to mention on behalf of Liza are the Emergency Fund for Staff at the community art organization Elevated Thought, which is in Lawrence. Also, Hands of Gaia, Reiki's Spirit of the Earth project, providing eco-friendly coffins, burial, ceremonial services for low-income families in Boston during this COVID-19 pandemic. So those are very powerful organizations. Thank you, Liza, for sharing those with us. And I also encourage everyone to check out Liza's new release, All Night, on Playroom Boston, a brand new house music record label. If you need some joy, do that.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited. There's dancing in the revolution.
There has to be. Well, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see the slide of those organizations, but when you reference this on YouTube, I think there will be a link to those organizations. So I'll just say them one more time. The Emergency Fund for Staff at the community art organization Elevated Thought, which is in Lawrence. So I guess you could Google Elevated Thought. And Hands of Gaia, Reiki's Spirit of the Earth project. So check those out if you'd like to donate. And we have so much gratitude again for our artists, our producers, and for all of you watching. Hi, Neil.
That was so good.
That was
Joanne left.
Yes, she did.
I think it wasn't clear if we were